Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today to go over and cover the Overwhelming Hunger event specifically for Blade, as this is an event ultimately tied back to his free-to-play unlock, but as well, surprisingly enough, also linked up with Zombie Scarlet Witch's event. So the combination of both these iconic characters, especially for the week of Halloween. Really exciting and intentional, but as well I want to break down for you guys how free to play friendly this event will be, and on top of that what you'll be needing to accomplish in terms of just guaranteeing the unlock and how does it look overall in terms of the scoring. So as a quick overview, as you guys can see right here, this is located on marvelstrikeforce.com, latest blog post, and there's a few components involved in this event. It's actually pretty simple, but there are a couple of things that you may need to tweak if you're trying to push for ultimately Blade's unlock, especially if you don't have a lot of shards of him. I would definitely review to see kind of where the shortfall is. But overall, to gain points for this specific event, there's a few components. There's going to be the collection of these Undying Orb fragments from the Red Dead rematch, the utilization of Alliance War with Undying characters, and then that's actually going to be rewarding the Blade character shards from the event. In addition to Crimson Gear, there's T3 ions, crystals, and on top of that, actually some gold sprinkled across it. So definitely a good event in terms of just building up your current resource levels and ultimately pushing towards the Blade unlock. Let's keep in mind as well, there's also the monthly bazooka item that's going to be tied back to the monthly event. So if you're gunning for those to just push higher and higher into that midnight hunt, well, that's also available here. So we don't really have much time to prepare because it's going to be shortly after this video comes out, right? We only have a day or two, so there's not really anything you can do to prep aside from understanding how far that you're going to be needing to hit certain point levels to achieve Blade's shards. So this is the chart right here, and as you can see, everything in orange is essentially what's tied back to the monthly event, and there's actually 100 total shards here for Blade. The big milestones that you want to be gunning for is milestone 13, which is for that bazooka. Up to that point, you're going to be getting about roughly 35 shards of Blade. The next milestone, which is 14 at 77,000, you're going to be getting an extra 25 shards. And then finally, if you are able to push all the way to milestone 16 at 116,000 points, that gives you the final 40 to unlock Blade, assuming you have 0 shards to begin with. If you already built up some shards previously of Blade, then you may not even actually need to hit that milestone. But I'm going to break it down for you guys, so rest assured there. In terms of scoring, there's a few components as well that they were able to provide for us. So any of the Undying Orb fragments that we get access to, it's going to be a 1-to-1 conversion. So one orb is going to be equivalent to 2,000 points, as that's typically the minimum for unlocking and opening an orb. You can see World Battles is going to be adding a sizable amount of 21,000. And on top of that, if you have your Undying characters at gear tier 17 and above, you're actually going to be getting a nice little boost here. Especially keep in mind, there's going to be a combination of 3 characters that are likely usable. In this case, Zombie Jugs, Zombie Iron Man, and Hela, all being part of that meta right now for the Undying that can give you those points across the 3 war battles situated during the week. I also want to point out there's going to be the web milestone component, which is the typical spending here of the candy. Utilizing and spending candy in the candy store specifically is also going to give you a healthy boost in points. So this has been the same event. They actually haven't changed anything, which has simplified the process of calculations. But if you're spending the normal 400,000 candies, this is going to give you a whopping total of 33,500 points added to the Overwhelming Hunger event. So overall, guys, actually the event, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. You just need to understand where your point totals are. So I've done a preemptive calculation in terms of where I'm likely going to land. I also wanted to be conservative because we don't really know how many orbs we're going to be getting from this event, right? We have to make a couple assumptions here and there. So that's why I did want to make sure I point that out. So this is my math right here. Let's keep in mind, Overwhelming Hunger is a 7-day event, so that means there's going to be 3 wars across the typical week, right? The Undying Orbs, I'll cover that actually last, so maybe let's go down the list here. Battling in War, once again, 1,000 points per battle that you do is going to be 21,000. Make sure you maximize this. That's an easy 21,000, right? If you have characters at gear tier 17, it's going to give you a total of 8,000 across the 3 war battles. And if you have characters from gear tier 18 and 19, assuming all 3 of them are leveled up, it's going to give you a massive 46,000 total. So I mean, this event is actually super duper easy if you already have, more than half these characters at gear tier 18 and 19. For myself personally, I actually don't have any of these characters at gear tier 18, hence why I don't have the math there. I think I might have Hela at gear tier 17. I'll have to double check, but otherwise, I still have not included any of the math here, just to be conservative, so that way you guys can see what the conservative math looks like here. Free claims usually is 500 points per day, so that's a pretty standard average. Across 7 days, 3,500. And then last but not least, as I touched on earlier, the web milestone gives you an exact figure here of 33,500 points. So that really just leaves the Undying Orbs, and the reason why I've highlighted and put this in yellow is because it's an assumption, we just don't know. But if I had to guess what the points that they're going to be giving to us is, it would be around 30 to 40,000 bare minimum. Reason being is because every 2,000 orbs, every 2,000 fragments is an orb, and they're usually really friendly with these Halloween events. So I mean, they're going to give us likely 80% of the unlock and maybe a couple shards coming from the story mode. So I'm going to just be conservative. I'm going to assume it's probably 20 orbs. It could be less, it could be more, but at least it gives us a number here to input to see how far off we're going to be. So let's just assume it's 40,000, which translates to 20 orbs. That's going to give you maybe, you know, I'm hoping 2 shards per for Zombie Scarlet Witch, which gets you very close to the unlock, plus minus some shards coming from the actual Red Dead event, right? So when you add all this together, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting about 98,000 points. That's going to get you past the bazooka event that you need for the monthly item, also giving you a 35 shards of blade at milestone 13. That's going to get you the milestone 14 at 77,000 points for the extra 25 shards of blade, which in total at that point is going to be around 60 shards. So in order for us to cover the difference right now from 98,000 to the 116, 2 things have to happen. One, my Undying Orbs here it could be a lot higher, but we don't know how gracious or how generous they're going to be, so I like to keep that figure there. Or you might actually have to bring up and fully load up some of the Undying characters. So for example, if you were to upgrade all 3 of them to gear tier 17, that's going to easily get you an extra 8,000 points, but that's not going to be enough. You're going to have to consider bringing some of the characters to gear tier 18, and that will be the difference maker once we're able to determine if, you know, the Undying Orbs is not as high as we thought. So guys, I don't think I need to do an update video, but we're going to be seeing how much orbs are going to get granted in the event when it comes live in a couple days here. But if I need to make an update video, I will. But I feel pretty good about this math. We've been pretty bang on for the last few weeks with how we've done these preemptive conservative calculations, and thankfully, hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of some of the compensation, some of the blade shards that have been sprinkled throughout that. You may not need to actually even hit milestone 16 for the 40 shards of blade. You might be able to just get by with the 60. I know the power cores are also still available if you guys want to utilize that, but that in a nutshell is the event, guys. Overall, it is actually a very free-to-play event. It's also tied back to Zombie Scarlet Witch, which is very nice. So hopefully the math shakes out here, and the fact that these points are, you know, pretty consistent. But again, review your roster, see where you're at, and see if you need to identify and bring up some of these Undying characters to gear tier 17 and above, because that could be the difference maker here of getting you close to that 100 shards of blade. Or if you just need to hit the minimum, for example, the 60 shards, it might be more than enough. So do let me know what your guys' game plan is. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.